Harihi Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. Continue with text 18. It is mentioned in the Matsya Purana that there was a pralaya during Swayambhuva's reign because of a curse of a sage upon Swayambhuva. So, there is the doubt. But the earth does not get submerged in water except at final devastation. This why did Varaha appear? Because the earth was not submerged during Swayambhuva's reign. Varaha appears to lift up the earth. The question is that it is not supposed to happen like this, because it is not the end of the day of Brahma. This verse answers, because of the curse of Agastya upon Swayambhuva, there was a devastation during his period. At that time, Varaha appeared to lift the earth, which was submerged. This is mentioned in Matsya Purana. I think we read this, no? Anyway, next. It is mentioned in the Vishnu Dharmotara that by the will of the Lord there was a sudden deluge during the reign of Chakshushamanu. Why was there devastation submerging the earth during Chakshushammanu's reign? This verse answers, by the will of the Lord there was a sudden flood of water during Chakshushammanu's reign. Varaha appeared at that time to lift the earth up, which had become submerged, and also killed Hiranyaksha. This is explained in the Vishnu Dharmotara. One must consult these two works for further information.
So these two inundations, they were not planned, they were sudden inundations in both cases. Swayambhuva as well as I remember vaguely reading somewhere that
some people say that there is, after every Manu, there is partial devastation. So we will read this. And some say no, it just appears to be devastation. It's like illusory, Vishnu's Maya. Yeah? But Markandeya explains in the Vishnu Dharmotara that there is a devastation of water at the end of each Manu's reign. So this is one opinion. During the Swayambhuva and Chakshushammanvantaras, the earth sinks completely, and Varaha appears to lift up the earth. At the end of every Manvantara, there is a flood of water, but though the earth becomes invisible, it does not totally sink. This verse explains this main conclusion. So there is devastation after every Manu, but especially Swayambhuva and Chakshusha, the earth sinks completely, and the rest, the other 12, it doesn't. Only partially. Text 21. At the end of the reign of Manu, the Devatas, free from sin, holding posts during that period, go to Maharloka and remain there. At the end of Manu's reign, the Devatas lose their posts. Hare Krishna. Those Devatas go to Maharloka and remain there, watching the devastation from there. Similarly, in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, at the end of the day of Brahma, there is a description how the demigods, they go to, again, to higher planets, and from there they spend their time there. That is not described, especially that they watch what's happening. They just spend the night of Brahma there. because there is again devastation up to heavenly planets. Text 22. O son of Yadu, Manu and the Devatas along with Indra then go to Brahmaloka, which is attained with great difficulty by those who die facing the enemy in battle. They attain Satyaloka, which is attained with difficulty by those who died facing the opponent in battle. That means the Kshatriyas who don't run from the battlefield. They perform their duty and they die, and they go to Satyaloka.
Even now?
Yeah. Always.
But is it not only when...
Not only. It's one of the cases.
No, I mean that Kshatriyas attain this result if they're backed by Dharma, like they're reasoning to fight. It's not just if you fight.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there should be righteous fight.
Mm-hmm.
Not just any type of fight. Not just bravery itself. No, it should be connected to Krishna. Then it has some value. Otherwise, just Rajaguna, Tamaguna. That's why sometimes devotees say, oh, he's a Kshatriya because he gets easily angered and he's quick-tempered. No. Kshatriyas have to protect Kshatriya, they protect the Dharma, they protect the people. So the Brahmanas protect the Vedas, Kshatriyas protect people, Vaishyas protect cows. Not just fighting, just because you get angry. But they do not stay there long. So they go to Satyaloka, but they do not stay there long. After their punyas are exhausted, they fall from there. Brahma Bhuva Nalaloka Punara Vartina Arjuna. Those who have attained Brahma Loka return again, Bhagavad Gita 8:16. But those who are more qualified stay there and become liberated along with Brahma at the end of his life. And footnote says, these persons would have to have performed bhakti. So the regular pious people, they reach the Satyaloka somehow or other, and then Kshinya Punya Martya Lokam Vishanti, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, once the pious credit is exhausted, they have to return to this planet. But the devotees, they can stay there. They don't have to come back. They can stay there and wait, perform their sadhana, get the association of great saintly persons, and just wait until Brahma, and until it's time for Brahma to go back home to God, and they go to him. Of course, if you want to wait so long, it's quite some time before this happens. So I guess some people would like to come back to planet Earth to perfect their sadhana, very short lifetime, and then go to Goloka without waiting so long, I guess.
But when they are there...
Gopkumara did this. He didn't wait in Satyaloka. Yeah.
When they are there, in Brahmaloka, for example, time for them not like...
Yeah.
So it's not so long, just few years.
Yeah. Still, in 5th canto, the demigods are saying that they would love to take birth in Bharatavarsha as human beings and perform devotional service, because it takes just one human lifetime.
So for them it's like a minute,
Mm-hmm.
or even not even that.
Those who are on Brahmaloka with exalted status at the time of final dissolution go directly to the supreme abode, along with Lord Brahma, Kurma Purana. Text 23. Oh, Vajra. So here now, I guess Markandeya is talking to Vajra. That's looks like, or some other sage. O Vajra, the great Lord, in the form of water, greatly agitated with countless waves, this is the water, not the Lord, covers the earth and the lower planets with water. Bhutalam refers to the earth, and Satalam refers to all the planets below the earth down to Patala. Vajra was the grandson of Krishna. O Yadava, all things on the earth planet are destroyed at that time. Only the famous mountains are not destroyed, O best of kings. Everything on the earth planet is destroyed, but the major mountains, such as the Himalayas, are not destroyed. They remain visible to the devatas. At that time, the earth personified, taking the form of a boat, protects all the seeds without discrimination, or offspring of the Yadu dynasty. The earth refers to the presiding deity of the earth, the wife of Varaha. O tiger among kings, the future Manu and the future 7 famous sages remain in the boat. Vishnu, Lord of the universe, takes the form of Matsya with a horn on his head and pulls that boat from place to place by his will. The Lord of the universe ties the boat to the pinnacle of the Himalayas. Matsya then disappears. They remain in the boat until the water subsides and a period similar to Satya Yuga begins. O king, when the waters recede to their previous position, the sages and Manu then perform their respective services. Now this is the inundation, and similar account is given in other scriptures, but since our scripture is the original one, and since everyone else they're just new kids on the block, so we claim that this is the original story. Everybody else had to read this story, hear this story, and make up their own version of it, which is not bad, but we still have to say that this is the story as it is. And they're speculating, because similar thing happens there on the top of the mountain. This is where the boat got stuck, but they speculate that this is different mountain. Some say it is Ararat mountain, but it's not. It's Himalaya, and it's only logical because this is the tallest mountain, and and then Matsya, in Bhagavatam also it is stated that Hare Krishna, that while Matsya has this pleasure journey, pleasure trip with these great sages and Manu, the future Manu, he's not just roaming about, but he's also delivering transcendental knowledge to them. So he's lecturing them, he's giving them knowledge. It's quite a trip. So there is nobody, finally, and Matsya can just enjoy peaceful atmosphere, although the waves are raging, but for him this is a great pleasure. Krita Tulyam means similar to Satya Yuga. They begin their activities of creating progeny and protecting the progeny. Sridhara Swami does not accept the devastation at the end of each Manvantara. He says, there is no devastation after each Manu. In the case of the period after Chakshusha Manu, there was an appearance of devastation for Manu caused by Vishnu's illusory energy. According to Sridhara Swami, there is no devastation at the end of each Manu's reign, but only after the end of the day of Brahma. There was an appearance of a deluge, as in a dream, after Chakshusha Manu. This is contrary to the statement of Vishnu Dharmotara, already quoted. When there was a complete inundation after the period of the Chakshusha Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu, keeping him up on the boat. So this is our Manu, right? So this is what happened before. This is how our realm started.
Our Manu.
Yeah, that's how it happened. With the golden fish, he started growing. Yeah, this is in 8th canto. And then, okay. Completing the incidental topic of devastation, now the author continues the description of the avataras. So this was just scoba, just incidental topic. The Lord appeared in the form of a fish at the time of deluge at the end of Chakshusha Manvantara, putting Satyavrata, who will be Vaivasvata Manu in the future, into the boat, protecting him from the water. It is significant that the Lord chooses the persons who will who will father the future generation. That's very important. This is one of the main topics of Bhagavad Gita also. In the first chapter, one of the doubts of Arjuna is that if all Kshatriyas now die, there will be no one to protect the women, and if the women are not protected, then this will give the beginning of Varna Shankara. What was the verse? Varna Shankara Jayate. So also the whole Mahabharata war was, the reason behind was that Krishna wanted his devotees to rule. So it's very important who is ruling, who is taking the decisions. Yat yata charati shashtas tatate veturo jana sayat pramatam kurute lokastatanu vartate. The great personalities are followed by ordinary men, and Krishna is the... Thank you. What was that? Adharma bhibavat Krishna pradushanti kulastriya strishu dushtashu varshneya jayate varna shankara. When irreligion is prominent in the family of Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood or descendant of Vrishni comes unwanted progeny. Thank you. Krishna wants, because he's on the top, he's the most important person, but he wants to rule together with his own men, the demigods, the devotees. So this is the origin of, right now in America, there will be a change of Manu. There's a new Manu now coming, and guess what happens? He will bring, there'll be, the whole administration will be changed now. Just like when Manu comes, then the demigods are changing, Indra, all the 7 great sages, all these posts are occupied by different persons, and it's known who will be the future Manu, for example, now. The future Indra will be Bali Maharaj, and the great 7 sages, all these positions are known. So this is the origin, because when you are in power, then you have to delegate you cannot do, of course Krishna can do everything, but he doesn't like to, he wants to share the pastimes and the glory with his devotees. So if you are in power, then you need to work with people who are like-minded, and Krishna wants to work with his devotees together. In the second canto, it is said, at the end of the millennium, the will-be Vaivasvata Manu of the name Satyavrata would see that the Lord in the fish incarnation is the shelter of all kinds of living entities, and who is the complete shelter of the earth. Because of my fear of the vast water at the end of the millennium, the Vedas come out of my, Brahma's, mouth, and the Lord enjoys those vast waters and protects the Vedas. So it seems, I think we also have some experience when you are very scared, suddenly, then you, in our language we say, Zabravi Shuma i Duma. You forget the Vedas, you forget your knowledge, it just evaporates, because you're so fearful. The consciousness becomes very narrow and it's just focused on one thing. It cannot access other segments of awareness, memory, discrimination, etc. So something similar happened to Brahma. He lost the knowledge. And then Matsya, who is the shelter of the earth, who is the dwelling place of all the groups of jivas, was seen by Satyavrata, the future Manu. Taking hold of the spiritual paths in the form of the Vedas, Matsya played in the waters of devastation at the end of the Manvantara. So when Markandeya wanted to see this the illusory potency of the Lord, then he was also there in the waters of devastation, but this was after the day of Brahma. It was the final devastation. Not this one.
Many days of Brahma, so he saw many devastations. 7, I think.
7 in a row.
I think Markandeya,
But-
he has the blessing to live for 7 days of Brahma.
But then he saw that there are some very large fishes swimming in this ocean. So it seems that it's not really the life was over for the earth, but not in the ocean. So the ocean. Oh, that's why they say that the ocean is the origin of life, because everything came out from the ocean. Is this Darwin's idea that they? Yeah.
The biggest fish eat everything else. And only the biggest survive. Nobody eats dog.
But then the biggest one also has to die because nothing to eat.
Plankton.
Or some sages which are floating around. But Markandeya was protected. He was somehow in a bubble. That's what I understood. So he could see everything, but he was kind of safe. But you are safe, but after some time, it starts messing up with your consciousness. Just for so long, being alone in this place.
He regretted having that.
Yeah, he regretted. He had second thoughts after a while. Okay. In the Padma Purana it is said, having been undressed by Brahma, the Supreme Lord took the form of Matsya and entered the great ocean. Having thus spoken means, the demons have stolen the Vedas from my mouth. O protector of the Vedas, please protect them. So this was Brahma's prayer. Brahma was entrusted the Vedas, and then he lost the Vedas, and he saw how the Vedas are being possessed by the demons, and this was very disturbing. So he prayed to the Lord. Like Varaha, text 34, like Varaha, Matsya appeared twice in this day of Brahma. Okay, now it's twice. Later we will hear it's more than twice, but for now it's twice. The first time, during the Svayambhuva Manvantara, Matsya killed the demon and picked up the Vedas. So Matsya also killed the demon. How did he kill the demon?
With the horn.
Yeah?
I don't know.
just your speculation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Logical, maybe. So there are such fishes, with horn.
Yeah.
What's the name? Narval, I think. Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the Narval. They're in the northern seas.
Somewhere.
The first time, during Swayambhuva Manvantara, Matsya killed the demon and picked up the Vedas. The second time, during the Chakshusha Manvantara, so the first and the sixth, okay, usually they appear, Matsya showed mercy to Satyavrata. In this verse, the author explains that there are two stories combined in the abbreviated depiction of Matsya. This reminds us about? Yeah, same. Two occasions, two avatars described as one. They're merged together.
But in Bhagavatam, we don't have the description that Matsya is killing the demon.
No.
We only have the description that is saving Satyavrata.
Yeah. And giving transcendental knowledge. So,
There's mention of Hayagriva. So then Matsya may turn into a different form, kill the demon, and then become Matsya again.
we're going to read about Hayagriva. I think he's the next one. Yeah. So he killed the demon, he took the Vedas, but this was the this is Svayambhuva. Okay. He took the Vedas, he gave it back to Brahma. Okay. The first time during Svayambhuva Manvantara, after killing the demon Hayagriva, who had stolen the Vedas. So there is a demon Hayagriva. Again, our school is faithful to its traditions. The first time during Swayambhuva Manvantara, after killing the demon Hayagriva, who had stolen the Vedas, he recovered the Vedas. At the end of Chakshusha Manvantara, he showed mercy to Satyavrata. He put him on a boat with other things and protected him. Having distinguished the two stories, the author then gives two proofs. In the Bible also, I think that God then he has chosen Noah because he was a very righteous person, right? So he deemed him worthy of staying alive and starting the new generation of people. Basically, that was the goal. So we see it's the same idea. Text 35, 36. So these are the two proofs. Among the verses quoted from Bhagavatam, the last one, starting Vishram Sitan, refers to the first appearance of Matsya during Swayambhuva Manvantara. So the last verse in Bhagavatam describes the first appearance, during which pastime the Lord killed the demon Hayagriva and rescued the Vedas. The first verse, starting Rupam Sa, gives proof of Matsya appearance at the end of the Chakshusha Manvantara, when the Lord showed mercy to Satyavrata and protected him. It is not clear from the three verses alone that there are the two appearances of Matsya. So just by reading Bhagavatam, it will be very difficult to deduce that these are two different stories. And that's why we have the Acharyas to tell us. These verses are meant to be representative stories of Matsya, appearing after the other Manvantaras as well. For from the Vishnu Dharmatara it is known that there are 14 appearances of Matsya. So now we know the real number, 14 times. That means each Manvantara there is Matsya.
Maybe because of this devastation.
Yeah, if Matsya is around, there should be water, right?
Yes. A lot of water.
And not just small reservoir, big, ultimate. It should be understood, however, that Matsya will appear at the end of every Manvantara, since the three verses are only expressing a general observation. It is understood that Matsya appears 14 times in one day of Brahma from the Vishnu Dharmatara. Okay, so Varaha appears 2 times, Matsya 14 times. Text 37.
Can I add something?
Yes.
When Lord Brahma goes to sleep, he's forgetting everything, and the Lord comes and re-establishes religion and reminds Brahma of who he is. Prabhupada says that he reminds Brahma of who he is and how to create every day. And then from there, Lord Brahma spends 1.2 hours in meditation. That's called the Brahma Muhurta, every day of his life. And the same thing happens to us. Every day when we go in deep sleep, then the Supersoul, Prabhupada explains, comes and reminds us of who we are. And we've lost all connection with everything, with all knowledge and everything. So it's the same thing repeating,
Yeah,
you know.
very interesting, yeah.
Whatever is in the universe happens to us at the end of every day of our lives, every night. And just before the Brahma Muhurta, that's when these living entities attack our psyche.
Right.
These nasty ones,
Yeah.
that stole the Vedas, they attack us every morning at that time.
So is this why we have these dreams just before we wake up?
Yes, the ones before we wake up, they're the ones who come in then. And they try and disturb because the Lord's giving us instruction and they come out in dreams in what's called the alpha or theta brain rhythms. And then we get attacked and they try and disturb those and they change the dreams so you don't fully understand. The Lord's given you direction of what's going to happen in the coming day or the coming 2 days or whatever.
Yeah, and they try to alter it.
Yeah.
And what about this instruction that you're not supposed to sleep during the Sandhya? So it's also these are the Shiva's also subtle entities. Okay, so you're supposed to be awake. I was thinking that Brahma, when he meditates to create the universe, he does a good job of meditation because he is the most past living entity. But also for us, our meditation during Brahma Muhurta, it also creates our universe because we are living in our own mind in a sense. So if you're not careful, in the morning when we meditate to create our day, so to say, then our day will be very chaotic and disturbing. If we just interrupt our meditation, watch our phone and do stupid things, then what do you expect for your day? Yeah, very nice.
From my research, I've concluded that we're all actually Lord Brahma. Our mind is the same as Lord Brahma's mind. It's called Hiranyagarbha.
Mm-hmm.
And this Hiranyaya, sorry. So this version of us has access to the whole Mahatattva, our mind, but we limit it due to our false ego with the body. We limit what information comes to us. But we're actually the same thing as Lord Brahma, the mind.
Yeah.
It's quite esoteric, but it works like that.
Well, Srila Prabhupada, I think he quotes Ramanujacharya, who says that during this deep sleep, the soul is embraced by the super soul.
Yeah.
And that means we are in a kind of Vasudeva Sattva state. And from there, because we still have material desires, we start dreaming about sense enjoyment, and then at one point we wake up, Jagrata. So this is again, as you say, it corresponds to the creation of the universe, and we go through these stages of consciousness every 24 hours.
Yeah.
Devastation, Mahatattva, and then Prakriti. But then the goal is to go to the Turiya stage, which is the Krishna conscious stage.
It also happens from the whole life. A baby begins as perfect with 100% of his life, and then he turns into Rudra and he starts smashing everything, and then he has to learn how to be intelligent and come up, and then you're supposed to attain perfection at the end of your life.
Yeah. Okay, next, text 37. Yajna is described in the first canto. Now, technically, Yajna is Manvantara avatara, but he appears in the Lila avataras here. So the Manvantara avatara is the incarnation of Vishnu who protects Indra. During the period of Indra's reign, Manu's reign, there is always incarnation of Krishna who protects Indra. If something happens in the universe and Indra is helpless, he cannot deal with the situation, then he helps. And he occasionally helps, even when Indra can't deal, he somehow likes to be involved. And Vamana is our Manvantara avatara. Okay, Yajna is described in the first canto. The seventh incarnation was Yajna, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of the Svayambhuva Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama. So, Ruchi was the father and Akuti was the mother. Yajna protected the Svayambhuva Manvantara along with the devatas such as Yama, his own son. He became Indra during this period. So, Krishna became Indra. So sometimes he is Vishnu, sometimes he is Shiva, sometimes he is Brahma, sometimes he is Indra. And his son is Yamaraj. So Indra is Krishna actually, and the demigods are some of them are his sons. So this was very special arrangement of the universe. Again, Krishna wants to rule with his own people. Because he relieves the three worlds, somebody could say, well, yeah, God, he appoints the main posts of the universe, his own sons, daughters. This is what was the name of this? Nepotism, right? Nepotism.
Nepotism.
Yeah. So people get very angry when they see politicians using this strategy to usurp more and more power. But Krishna does the same. Yes.
But not completely, because now he's putting his own son, but then later he'll put Balimaharaj.
Yes.
So he is just choosing those people who are qualified.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about...
It's not based on bodily conception of a false ego, because the Lord doesn't have false ego. And sometimes he also punishes his own son, just like in the case of Narakasura. He was the son of Krishna and Bhumi. But then when he became a bad guy, Krishna punished him, killed him, basically. Therefore, he took one of the reasons. Of course, there are many reasons. But if you remember this pastime, when Krishna went there to the capital of this demon, one of his queens, Satyabhama, she rode on the back of Garuda together with him. So she is the origin of Bhumi Devi. Therefore, he took her with him because he wanted to make sure that I'm killing now your own son. You should see this. You should see what is the real situation. So don't be upset that I have to do this. Something like this. Because he relieved the three worlds of great distress, Yajna was called Hari by his maternal grandfather, Swayambhuva Manu. This is mentioned, footnote, this is mentioned in the second canto of Bhagavatam. The Prajapati first begot Suyagya in the womb of his wife Akuti, and then Suyagya begot demigods, the Suyamas, in the womb of his wife Dakshina. Suyagya, as the Indradeva, diminished very great miseries in the three planetary systems, upper, lower, and intermediate. And because he so diminished the miseries of the universe, he was later called Hari by the great father of mankind, Swayambhuva Manu. Text 39. The next. Nara and Narayana are described in the first canto. In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nara and Narayana, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma, Dharmakala. Thus he undertook severe and exemplary penance to control the senses. Dharmakala means a portion of Dharma. This refers to Dharma's wife, for it is said, Ardo va eshatmano yat patni, half of himself is the wife. The Lord became Nara Narayana as her offspring. Footnote. Nara is Siddha Jiva and Narayana is Ishvara. The significance of this incarnation is described in the second canto. To exhibit his personal way of austerities and penance, he appeared in twin forms as Narayana and Nara in the womb of Murti, the wife of Dharma and the daughter of Daksha. So your twin brother is actually the Lord. Can you imagine? Celestial beauties, the companions of Cupid, went to try to break his vows, but they were unsuccessful, for they saw that many beauties like them were emanating from him, the personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada writes, Srila Prabhupada comments, studying the whole scheme of dissociation from women, it appears that a woman is a stumbling block for self-realization. And the Lord appeared as Narayana to teach the principle of womanly disassociation with a vow in life. The demigods, being envious of the austere life of the rigid brahmacharis, would try to cause them to break their vows by dispatching soldiers of Cupid. But in the cause of the Lord, it became an unsuccessful attempt when the celestial beauties saw that the Lord can produce innumerable such beauties by his mystic internal potency, and that there was consequently no need to be attracted by others externally. There is a common proverb that a confectioner is never attracted by sweetmeats. Сладкария не можеш да го изкусиш с торти. Sorry, I'm starting. Yes, okay, so the confectioner who is always manufacturing sweetmeats has very little desire to eat them. Similarly, the Lord, by his pleasure potency, can produce innumerable spiritual beauties and not be the least attracted by the false beauties of material creation. So we see this is a standard procedure. Indra becomes worried that some sage performs tapasya and he will become very powerful and take over his post, and then he sends some girls from the heavenly planets. And this happened to many, many sages in the past, including some of the greatest, like Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra had this once, first with Menaka, and then they sent another Apsara, and she was worried. She was scared that the sage will become angry and curse her. But Indra told her, no, don't worry, it's okay. Whatever happens, I will protect you. And this is an example of how the material authority cannot actually protect you. And then Vishwamitra became angry, and so the first time with Menaka, he actually engaged in a relationship with her, and then after some years, he suddenly became aware what's happening. And then he saw that so many years they have passed by, and then he lost his credit that was coming from the tapasya. And then Menaka saw that, Menaka understood what's happening, and she became very scared, very afraid. And then Vishwamitra said, no, it's not your fault. There's nothing to do with you. I'm to be blamed. And then he immediately left and went to perform new tapasya for another 1,000. And then this other Apsara came, and then this time he didn't engage with her, but he became angry. And this was another problem. He lost again his power of tapasya. And then guess what he did? Okay, here we go again, another 1,000 years of austerity. So, but in the case, there was another one. They tried the same with Markandeya Rishi, didn't work out with him. And everybody was very astonished. It is in the 12th canto, I think. And also it didn't work out with Nara Narayana, because they are the origin of everything, and they are not attracted to any material sense gratification, because they're spiritual. They are the origin of spirit and matter. The Bhagavatam continues, great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can, by their wrathful glances, overcome lust and vanquish them. Yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of Him, the Lord, who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind? So where are we now? Text 40. Now continues. Oh. This verse refers to the time Lord Shiva was engaged in austere meditation, and Cupid, the demigod of lust, threw his arrow of sex desire at him. Lord Shiva glanced at Cupid in great wrath, scorching Cupid's body to a crisp. In text 40. In another scripture, they are said to have two brothers, known as Hari and Krishna. Nara and Narayana are considered one avatara like the Kumars. In the Narayaniya section of Mahabharata, this is mentioned. It also says that Hari and Krishna got married. So just to pacify the people who are, for them it's very important, this progeny and samsara sukha. Then the Lord, also I heard about Shukadeva Goswami, that he also, usually Shukadeva stayed at home and he got married. Have you heard this? You heard? Text 41. Kapila is described in the first canto. The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfect beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to a Suri Brahmana, for in course of time this knowledge had been lost. He spoke the knowledge called Sankhya, which describes with discrimination the various elements and the Lord to a Brahmana named Suri. Okay. He described the elements and the Lord. So he described the reality, ontology, to a Brahmana named Suri. He appeared in the womb of Devahuti as the son of Kardama. He was called Kapila by Brahma because of his brown complexion. In the Padma Purana it is said, Kapila, the portion of Vasudeva, spoke Sankhya, which supports the meaning of the Vedas, to Brahma and the Devatas, Bhrigu and other sages, and to Asuri. If the Kapila in the Bhagavatam is a theist, why would he speak the atheistic philosophy of Sankhya? The answer is given here. The Kapila, who is a portion of Vasudeva, the son of Kardama, spoke Sankhya, which supports the meaning of the Vedas. Footnote 9. The demigod Aryama and other residents of Hiranmaya Varsha praise Lord Kapila in these words. O my Lord, your name, form and bodily features are expanded in countless forms. No one can determine exactly how many forms exist. Yet you yourself, in your incarnation, as the learned scholar Kapiladev, have analyzed the cosmic manifestation as containing 24 elements. Therefore, if one is interested in Sankhya philosophy, by which one can enumerate the different truths, he must hear it from you. Unfortunately, non-devotees simply count the different elements and remain ignorant of your actual form. I offer my respectful obeisances to you. So only the Lord, who is the origin of everything, only He can explain perfectly the different constituents of reality. And why do we study the reality? One of the reasons is because by analyzing something, you tend to get free of your attachment to this thing. If you see that this element that is so attractive is actually built by different elements and ultimately by atoms, then this mystique of something very esoteric, interesting and exciting fades away. Right? Therefore Shankaracharya, he says, one shouldn't be attracted to women's breasts. They are just some material elements inside, fat but that's the goal, to become gradually disinterested in matter. Okay. Another Kapila spoke knowledge. Where are we? Another Kapila, this is the same verse. Another Kapila spoke knowledge contrary to the Vedas, which is full of false logic, to another person, also called Asuri. This other Kapila was a Jiva born in the Agni dynasty. He is described by Markandeya in Mahabharata as a descendant and empowered representative of the fire god. Self-controlled renunciants often refer to Kapila as one of the most exalted sages. Actually, it was Agni himself who appeared with the name Kapila and instituted the yoga system of Sankhya. Mahabharata.
He spoke the theistic Sankhya, yes?
So the guru and the disciples, had the same names, Kapila and Asuri, but one was the Lord, and the disciple was some Brahmana, and then there was a demon with the same name. Okay, text 45. What is this here? Dattatreya is described in the second canto. Being satisfied with Atri, who desired a son, the Lord said, I have given myself to you. Thus he is called Dattatreya. Datta, the son of Atri. So datta means like a gift. And by the grace of the lotus feet of the Lord, many yadus, hayas, etc. became so purified that they obtained both material and spiritual blessings. The Lord said, I have given myself to you. Therefore, he was called Datta. Yadus and persons such as Kartavirya attained blessings, both material and spiritual, from him. In the first canto, he is also described the sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Anasuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlada and others, Yadu, Haiha, etc. Being chosen by Anasuya, the wife of Atri, he became the son of Atri. This activity is described. He spoke knowledge of Atma. I think if you remember this 11th canto story of the Python sadhu, the Avaduta Brahmana, Yadu Maharaj saw this very special personality who was fully fit to enjoy material world. He was very intelligent, strong, young, handsome, but he was just laying there somewhere in the forest and not doing anything. And Yadu Maharaj asked him, so, my dear sir, first of all, you seem to be fully capable of working and enjoying life. You don't do it. Second, you don't do anything, and you seem quite well fed. How come? Who is feeding you? How is this possible? And then this saintly person, he told him that he is self-realized person, he is Jivan Mukta, and he told him that he learned this by associating with his gurus, and he described 24 gurus. And one of the gurus is this Pingala, the prostitute. And the story of Pingala is that one night, after she waited for so long for a customer and then the customers would just not come, she became very frustrated, and then suddenly she became very detached and experienced great happiness. She understood her actual position. She understood that she's in Maya and she has to turn now her attention 100% to the Lord, and very happily she went to sleep. And then I think some acharyas explained that this happened because Dattatreya, who was incarnation of Krishna, who was traveling like a mendicant, he was roaming about. And prior to that, he didn't have place to stay at night, so he stayed at her place. She gave him a place to stay somewhere outside of her house. He stayed there, he gave a blessing to her and left, and then that's how she became devotee. And she understood that. In the prayers in Bhagavatam, she says that it's not possible unless I must have done something in the past that I have earned, I have attained the mercy of the Lord. Otherwise, how am I able to experience such detachment suddenly and to be so happy and so determined to serve Krishna? So this is Dattatreya. Then, yes.
So, there was one purport in Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada is saying we are, like there are two paths in the Vedic context. Pravriti Marga and Nivriti Marga.
Yeah.
We as a movement, we are situated on the Nivriti Marga.
Therefore, when we go to Kumbh Mela, at the Kumbh Mela there are two main camps, the Pravriti and the Nivriti camp. And there are many people there. Different traditions, different sampradayas, and ISKCON is on the Nivriti side.
So within the Nivriti, like everyone needs some sense gratification to survive. Is Jivan Mukta. So it doesn't matter if you're a brahmachari or a family person, everyone needs his quota of sense gratification, otherwise he will die like a person in the desert without water. So how we as a what should be the proper attitude for us as an nivriti forwards, despite our need of some sense gratification? How do we combine these two? The need for pravriti within the nivriti movement.
That's why we have a grihastha ashram, and this is how people deal with it usually, right? They engage their material desires in service of Krishna. And by connecting everything with Krishna, then gradually our material attachments, they become purified. Because Krishna is the antiseptic and avishuddha, what is the apapavidam? Purifying. So anything that comes in contact with him gets purified. So we bring our attachment in the purview of Krishna consciousness. We expose them to Krishna influence, and then they become purified. And inside the Grihastha ashram there are rules that have to be followed, but there is a scope for expanding your field of activity, at least for 25 years, 30 years, and then gradually it has to be withdrawn. But as far as the renunciates are concerned, the scope is very small. What can one sannyasi or vanaprastha or brahmachari do? I don't know, maybe go for a walk in the park, eat more prasadam. It's not recommended either, because the control of the senses begins by jihva vegam. So yeah, but this is or Krishna book.
Yes.
So it should be some sense enjoyment in the sattva guna that doesn't degrade us. In Bhagavad Gita, one commentary, I think by Baladevi Vibhushan, he says that for the Ashtanga yogis, those who live in the Himalaya cave and they just perform meditation, the only allowed recreation for them is walk, occasional walk. So the advancement, as if we are not very advanced, then we require lots of deviations from the 5 most important and most powerful forms of bhakti. And then, but if we advance, then we require less and less. And then those who are really advanced, they in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Atmarati reva syat atma triptascha manava atmani eva cha santushtas. Atmani eva cha santushtas. Tasya karem na vidyate. For those who take pleasure only in the self, for them there is no duty. So, but your question is how to combine this?
I mean, it's a little bit, it looks not so easy, because like people, they have to live their life, isn't it? Everyone has life to live and everyone wants to live his life. But at the same time, by book, by textbook,
we are nivriti.
Okay, you are nivriti movement, so you should not enjoy it. You have to understand that this world is miserable, and you have to. Anyway, you suffer, and better don't try, and just go back to Krishna. So you read all this, but then your mind is telling you, no, maybe one more try.
The mind is revolting. I think practically what can we do? We have to very quickly try to acquire this spiritual taste as quick as possible. Just be very active and dynamic in our direct devotional service and pray to Krishna to get spiritual taste, and then once this is there, once ruchi is there, then this problem will disappear. But until we have material taste, then it will be struggle. And sometimes we have to suppress by force. They're like dogs, wild dogs, and all these wolves. They're the full moon appears, and then these werewolves, when they see it looks like a normal person, normal guy, but then the moon appears, and then he sees the moon, and then he turns into hideous creature. So this is our subtle body right now. It's like this. We are like getting up from Mangalarti, going to the temple and chanting Shikshashtakam on the way to the bathroom, but then the moon appears, and then so this is because we don't have this spiritual taste. So that's my answer. As soon as possible, we have to acquire this, and this is our saving grace. Otherwise, it will be struggle. And then we have to stay in a very good association all the time. Shackle ourselves to the radiator. So when the abstination crisis comes, we don't, these people, I think in many places legal, people who suffer from gambling addiction, you can go and tell the guys in the casino, please put my picture here, and I'm not allowed. So in the bright moment, when everybody has bright moments sometimes, so then in this moment, if you do this, then and they put your picture there, then even if you want to go, then legally they are not allowed to let you in. So tricks like this, stay always with some good friends that when they see you getting crazy, they just, oh, here we go again. Hold him. By hook or by crook, we should not let these animals that are still having in our mind this low animalistic nature take over. And at the same time try to get this taste. That's my answer. And we over time anyway. Yes?
Is it okay to add something, just briefly, because it's
sure.
So I think you answered it very well answered, and it's a very good question, to ask. But nivritti doesn't mean that you can't enjoy. It just means that you become detached from material nature, and you do that by becoming attached to Krishna. So when you, as a human, you have natural things that you need to do. Humans like to sing, they like to dance, they like to eat nice foods, all these things. So what Prabhu said about dovetailing everything, it's the right thing. We just do it in Krishna's service. But what happens is we live in the Kali Yuga construct, and it tells us to always enjoy. It tells us that's the goal of life, So what we have to do, as Prabhu said, is live in the construct with devotees and have our enjoyment within a limited scope. And then over life, just slowly become more attached to Krishna and more detached from Maya. But as soon as we step out and we let our mind go into the Kali Yuga construct, there's unlimited desires that we get. And this story you told about Pingala Prabhu, it's a very special story. It has an esoteric meaning. So when Sukadev explained the Bhagavatam, when Vyasadeva puts it together as an editor, he puts in what's called meta programs. So these are metaphysical programs, and he's putting stories or pictures in our brain so that it's accepted not by the right hemisphere, not by the left hemisphere, but by the right hemisphere. So he's bypassing our conscious objections, so to speak, and just speaking right to our subconscious mind.
Wow.
In the form of stories, And this story of Pingala the prostitute. So that is we have an Ida and a Pingala Nadi. And the Pingala controls, it's the right side of the body that controls the left side of the brain, or the intellect. So Pingala, it said the intelligence is like a prostitute that goes all over. So the prostitute Pingala is actually a meta program to say to you that your intellect, always trying to enjoy with different men, etc., it's only settled when it tries to enjoy with Krishna, when it actually finds Krishna. You follow? So these things are there within the Bhagavatam. It's Vyasadev's such an amazing teacher. I worked many of them out, these meta programs, and they're very special.
She said this directly, what you're saying. She said this in the prayers. I was so stupid, I was trying to enjoy different men, and I disregarded my true husband. Yeah, and that's very deep, as you say, archetypical, like mythological, not in a bad sense. It's the narrative of the whole material world. Is this story? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande.